Lego. No one's talking about it. No one will talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. But why? Excuse me 1 second, and I'll let you know. Lego's been around since, the first Lego movie with Emmett. Everything is awesome. The Craggle, all that fun stuff. That was the first introduction to Lego media. Had Lego City, I believe, was a show on Netflix, but it was a show out there at one point, which was just animated and awful. But the first real rendition of Lego as a media was the Lego movie, and it was amazing. It took the world, I feel like, by storm of wait, what is this thing called the Lego movie? I feel like so many more people talking about what is the Lego movie as opposed to anything else, and I think that's awesome. And here's the kicker. I think that what makes Lego media so good is the humor, the storytelling, the passion in the art form, in the craft, and the voice acting. We're gonna get into it, but I'm sure you're already thinking of some Lego films that didn't do so great, and we'll talk about them and then try to figure out why Lego. Why talk about Lego right now? How is it relevant? It is, and we'll get there. So Lego movie, hilarious. One of the greatest, as far as humor is concerned, one of the funniest, I feel like, kids movies to date, at least out there. I would say top 10 funniest kids movies, just like Taco Tuesday, the You Won't See This Coming, oh, we saw that coming, those kinds of jokes, the deep breath, Emmett looking at the manual, the cats, and then there's just so much going on there. I feel like it was hilarious when Emmett's trying to get invited to go to the bar at the end of the workday and no one invites him. It's just a lot of things like that that make it feel good and make it feel really fun. The Lego Batman movie, hilarious. The two best friends joke with the Joker, Alfred kind of parenting Bruce being a whiny kid. Obviously it falls off, but at the beginning it is so incredibly funny. The Lego movie 2, very meta, has a lot of meta jokes with it, but still, I think it's hilarious. I think it's great. The dinosaurs, the things in there are just really awesome. Lego Ninjago. We don't talk about Lego Ninjago. Anyways, and Piece by Piece looks funny as well, and it looks so good. So I think humor in these things genuinely make me laugh, genuinely are hilarious, and the writers knock it out of the park every time. The storytelling in these movies is also genuinely so good. Lego Movie 1 has that crazy plot twist, has a love interest, has a coming of age thing, a prophecy thing, father-son kind of relationship dynamic in it as well, and kind of at the end, and also in the second one has that also adding the sister into that, or the daughter, really, really good storytelling in there. I remember when the Lego movie first came out in theaters, people would talk about that plot twist like they talk about Han Solo's death. It was that big. It was that crazy of oh wait, this is actually real, and we'll get there. But it worked. Lego Batman, don't remember the story. I remember it being funny, and I remember it falling off. And Lego Ninjago, we don't talk about it. And so, yeah, Piece by Piece, I also think the storytelling in there is going to be great. The story of Pharrell and why he does those 4 beats, signatures, and I feel like there's a lot there. I feel like there's a lot to unpack. Now, is it going to be the greatest movie ever? I don't know. We only have a trailer. Obviously, I ranted about a trailer in a previous episode, but I don't feel right ranting about this trailer. You know what I mean? It's not the same thing. But yeah, I think Piece by Piece is going to be great. And like I said at the beginning, the passion for the craft the stop motion. Like, the fact that they have to take a picture for every frame of this movie is crazy, right? It just adds so much character, it adds so much life. It's just insane with what they're able to do with this stop motion kind of art, and it's so evident that there's so much life in these movies and so much passion in them, and they've put in a lot of work for it, and 9 times out of 10 they just crush it and they just look so good. But why talk about these movies? Why talk about Lego? Is it to spread some type of awareness or excitement for Piece by Piece? No, but I mean, yes, like I am excited for Piece by Piece, but no. It's because of a TV show that is somehow going completely unwatched, and it is absolutely insane. And that is, of course, Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy is hands down one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars content I've watched in a long time. I would consider myself a Star Wars nerd. I've seen all the movies, I've seen all the shows, I've watched all of Clone Wars, all of Rebels, I have seen all of it, all of the new shows, the live action ones. I'm up to date with every single piece of Star Wars content. So when I say I'm like somewhat of a Star Wars nerd, I am. Again, Bad Batch, I've consumed it all. Like, nothing about Star Wars canon I don't know or I haven't seen. And we could talk about like the Darth Plagueis kind of teaser as well. But Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy is hands down better than a lot of Star Wars content, which is saying a lot. And it's not better than like Clone Wars. It's not better than, you know, some like, especially Clone Wars Season 7, which might be my all-time fave. But it's not better than some of these really good ones, but it's still good. And that's what I want to talk about, is no one's watching it, and you guys need to watch it. You need to. The story, in and of itself, it's about a Jedi kid who stumbles upon a Jedi temple, and he is using the Force on it and whatnot, and uses the Force on this really important piece called a cornerstone. And if you remove the cornerstone in a galaxy, it rebuilds the entire galaxy. And it's just all about him kind of trying to get back to his old galaxy from this new one that he made. A lot of characters are different. I think the ones that's already in the trailers I don't feel bad about. Mark Hamill reprises Luke Skywalker role. The guy who plays C-3PO revoices C-3PO in this one. Darth Jar Jar. Ahmed reprises his role with Darth Jar Jar, and we'll talk about him a little bit later, but Ahmed Best reprises that role. The stop motion in this is so good, with lightning effects and a lot of rumbles and fire, and there's a lot of elements in there, but it all goes together so well. And I think it's definitely the product for me of something where it's like, oh, we're finally seeing Lego to its fullest potential, and it's really good. And so it's so worth every bit of a watch. But voice actors is primarily what I want to talk about. And that is Gaten Mazarazo, the actor who plays Dustin in Stranger Things, voices the main Jedi kid named Sig, S-I-G, which sounds like fig. Doesn't matter. So Sig, and he kills it. Gaten Mazarazo voicing this Jedi absolutely kills it in that role. All of his lines are said with such a level of emotion and depth that I feel like a lot of content is missing. Star Wars content is missing as far as getting a lot of these lines, or as far as anything like that is concerned, or some of the more common Star Wars content. But he absolutely kills it. And there was an interview where he mentioned that he does such a good job because he considers himself a Star Wars nerd.
It was in 2022, and it's such imposter syndrome about it, because I'm the biggest Star Wars fan in the world. So when they asked me to be a part of it, it was an absolute no-brainer. I'm through and through one of the biggest Star Wars fans I've ever met, and we're notoriously hard to please. So it's a really cool fresh new take that's low stakes and fun, and just reminds people of why we love Star Wars. And it's just goofy and great. Such a cool cast, and it's fresh and fun. I like it a lot.
For reshaping, and this really, like, honestly beautiful kind of art can take place, right? And when you have the likes of like Gaten Mazarazo, like knowing in-depth Star Wars knowledge and knowing that the fan base can't be pleased, and you have Mark Hamill reprising his role, and also when, you know, episode 8 was happening and he was like, this isn't the Luke that I know, but it's the Luke I will choose to play for the fans. You have this beautiful thing of the show actually representing the fan base, right? Not to go too much off on a tangent, but with Black Ops 6, for example, Treyarch does not care about the fan base. They care about making money. Whereas Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy is all about the fans, and it's all about how to have fun and create a fun environment while staying true to like what makes Star Wars. And that's amazing, and that's what makes it so good and so heartwarming and easy to watch and simple. And so I love it. I think the characters in there are so fun. Jedi Bob, the fact that we have a Jedi named Jedi Bob is crazy. The fact that there's a droid named Servo who can talk, like a battery droid who can talk, is so funny. There's the jokes in this thing are so good, like breaking the fourth wall at times. And just genuinely, it's evident that everyone on this project had fun and they had passion and they knew what was good for Star Wars. And they knew it was time to break something down and rebuild it. And that's the only way you can get away with not touching our galaxy far, far away. Other than that, you know, like if they actually produced this thing live action and called it like, you know, of like, oh look, it was a reset on the Star, the fans would be furious. No one would accept that. No one would think that's okay. No one would think that's good. Like, it'd be awful. And I think that's what's crazy and what makes this so good is fans aren't being disregarded. They're being heard. And I think another thing about this is nobody is watching it. I've talked to my Star Wars friends and I'm like, hey, have you heard about this thing? And they're like, no, never even heard of it. Nobody is talking about it. Nobody is watching it. And it's such a shame because it is deserving of a watch. I would love to hear your opinions on both Star Wars and this specific show in the comments because, God, I loved it. I think it's insane. I think it knocks it out of the park. If you're going to consider Lego Star Wars being a video game and this is a video game show, then it's one of the best I've ever seen. Like, it's insane. It is definitely worthy of every ounce of love, every watch, every positive. It's insane. It's so good. I wanted to come out in here and just chat about it for a little bit. Talk about the jokes, talk about what makes this thing so good. And please, 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 if you find time, just watch it. Even if it's one episode a week, within 4 weeks, you would have consumed the best Star Wars thing in a long time. The stop motion goes crazy. It's so good. And with that, cheers.